All right. Welcome back. Old Heads Podcast. All is well. I hope all is well, man. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Couldn't be better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, been a while since we've been back to the Old Heads Podcast, man. We took a little slight little break, handle some business, but I think it's good to kick off the resume with some good cigar talk, man.
Indeed.
So we got a very, I know I say exciting probably every episode. So I'm gonna say we got a very relaxing conversation on the way. Uh, so without further ado, who we got here? What's your name, boss?
All right. I'm Lewis Whaley. I'm the founder and CEO of Kings Palace Cigars, um, soon to be Kings Palace Cigar Lounge. One and the same, or both in the same.
Okay. And where you from, boss?
Right here, I'm a native son of Duval,
Yes, sir.
Jacksonville, Florida. Right here.
Okay. And then as far as your current scope in the industry, what like is when you first smoked your first cigar? Was that when you was like, man, I need to start a business with these, or just elaborate on your first experience with a cigar?
I had no plans in starting anything cigar wise when I had my first cigar, man. I smoked some Black and Miles early days when I was in the army, and it was 2003. Um, I was on a rooftop in Baghdad, Iraq, in 2003. We were celebrating taking over the airport. It used to be called Saddam International Airport. We renamed it Baghdad International Airport. We were celebrating that, and that was when I had my first cigar, standing on the rooftop in combat. So from there, just years of smoking cigars and experiencing different cigars. On all my travels, I've been to Germany. I've been all over Europe and things like that, enjoying cigars. It wasn't until I retired from the army and talking with my wife and saying I feel like it's time for me to start my own business to do something.
Right.
And I was telling her about, hey, I can get into the janitorial spot. She said, yeah, I don't really see that for you.
Yeah.
I don't really see that.
Yeah.
She said, why don't you do something that you love? Do something that you're interested in doing. And that's all she said.
Right.
So that night, type of dude I am, once something hit my mind like a lightning bolt, I'm chasing it. So that night I had a dream. I was smoking a cigar, and from that dream I took, that's what I need to be doing.
Right.
And the name and everything just came from that dream.
For sure. So, what would you say is your favorite cigar now?
So I'm a full bodied cigar smoker. So my favorite cigar type is a Maduro. I'd say my favorite cigar outside of the King's Palace signature cigar would be the Undercrown Maduro.
Okay. And why is that?
It's a robust flavor profile, very smooth for a full bodied cigar, very smooth. And a lot of people don't know this. I patterned my cigar, my first cigar, the King's Palace Signature Maduro, behind some of the flavor profile and notes and the smoothness of the Undercrown Maduro.
100%. And then, if just briefly off the top of your head, what are the different types of cigars and what makes them different?
Oh man, there are
Obviously, and it's a million, but just elaborate on a
thousands
couple
of
on a few.
different. So I mean, you have your light cigars, you have your sweet cigars, you have your medium cigars, you have your medium to bold or medium to full body cigars, and it kind of just depends on your palate.
Right.
I tell a lot of people that don't smoke cigars that if they drink wine, you can smoke a cigar because, of course, you're not supposed to inhale a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen
Right.
people, you know, smoke, weed or whatever, and,
Right.
and do all kind of other stuff, and they get a cigar in their hand. They think they're gonna smoke it the same way. End up lights out on the ground.
Right.
But yeah, you take the cigar smoke in and you taste it just like you tasted wine, except for you blow the smoke out. You ain't gonna spit wine back out, but you blow the smoke back out. And a lot of people don't understand how many taste buds are in your nasal passages. So you do what's called a hydrohale. That's when you take the smoke in and don't take it in your lungs, but you blow it out of your nose instead of blowing it back out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That way, the smoke and all of the flavor profile of that cigar is hitting all of your taste buds in your nasal passage. So, you get more of the flavor of of the cigar when you do that.
Right. Okay, and then so currently, I know you said at the beginning of the episode, you briefly touched on the difference of this being King Palace Cigars and King's Palace Cigar Lounge. So what's currently going on with King's Palace Cigars? What are you doing with cigars?
Oh man, we got a lot going on. We got a lot going on. So it's like I said, we started with one cigar, my baby. That was my son. I'm watching him grow and all that and stuff. So it was the King's Palace Maduro, the signature Maduro. It was supposed to have another name, but I'm saving that for my Founder's Reserve cigar that I'm gonna bring out just in celebration of the founder and the start of King's Palace. And that's it's coming out later. Not gonna spoil it with saying when it's coming out, but it is coming out. Stay tuned to that. But King's Palace Cigar Lounge was my first idea. Having a cigar line, that happened, and I'm glad it did. But King's Palace Cigar Lounge is going to be our brick and mortar, located in Palm Coast, Florida, and hopefully we'll have. I'm going to speak that we will have multiple locations.
Right.
Palm Coast, Florida will be our flagship brick and mortar. King's Palace Cigars came about when I was introduced and met this master blender, and we went into partnership with him teaching me the construction of a cigar, and then me saying, okay, I definitely want a cigar for King's Palace, and then it just exploded to what it is right now.
Okay, that's a very exciting story to note there, and then just furthering your point here. So the OS podcast is a platform that's centered around business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as far as King's Palace Cigar and King's Palace Cigar Lounge, what are some of the business specifics that it's taken, like, for you to get to this point? And just, if you don't mind elaborating on your biggest learned lesson in business as far as being a business owner, entrepreneur right now.
Well, being an entrepreneur and being a business owner is definitely not for the faint of heart. It's not. It is a journey. Nobody's going to come into it knowing everything. It doesn't matter how researched you are. The amount of research you do prepares you for the things that's coming up. But there are a lot of roadblocks, a lot of no's, sometimes there was more no's than yeses that I got. But the perseverance of it all is the very essence of being an entrepreneur. You have to battle through and you have to move through with creating the LLC, knowing what type of business that you want to have, whether it's a S Corp or a C Corp or an LLC or however you want to structure your business, and understanding taxes. I majored in business, and so I had to plug in all of my business classes into doing this for myself. So understanding structure and business structure, understanding B2B, understanding everything that relates to how you sell, how you market yourself, the demographics of where you're selling at, who you're selling, who your consumer base is, understanding your competitors. Excuse me, it's huge. And if you go into it just saying I have an idea, that's not enough. If you go into it saying, well, I dreamed this and I'm just going to go and run into it, that's not enough. You have to know exactly what direction you want to go in. You want to have a foundation. I have a lot of ideas, but I have to quiet myself and bring all those ideas into something that's, okay, which direction? Because a lot of ideas coming in will have you going in 30 different directions at one time. And just like one of my mentors told me a long time ago, put too many irons in the fire, none of them's gonna get hot.
You hit a nail on the head.
Indeed.
Man, and while you were talking, you said some very interesting sales. That's a very, just speaking in public, talking to people picture a salesman and be like, oh man, he trying to rip me out. He trying to get me. Businessman is a salesman. Oh, I don't care what type of industry it is, you're a salesman.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you maintaining your sales? How do you, obviously these are cigars, A lot of people like cigars. I mean, they sell itself. Um, but as far as tapping into a new set of people, a new demographic of people, maybe you have a thought, man. As far as expanding my sales and growing my sales, I may have to go talk to a different, put myself in an uncomfortable situation and put this brand in front of a different type of people. How do you do that and maintain your sales and grow your sales without seeming or coming across as aggressive and out of place?
You said one thing that is the realest thing of all is cigars sell itself. A lot of products sell themselves. What you're selling is you. You have to be likable. You have to sell yourself to people. You can't get in front of an audience if you're not selling you. So how do you increase your sales volume? How do you increase selling what you're doing? You have to be likable. You have to be able to go out and talk to people and talk to different people, not just somebody that you're close to talking to or close to or can relate just because we're the same color or ethnic background or whatever. You have to be an extrovert. You can't be an introvert and try to be in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely have to be able to communicate. You have to be an effective communicator. And being an effective communicator, you have to be able to listen. You can't just spew out a whole bunch of information if you're not listening to what the consumer is looking for. You're not listening to what people are saying about what you have. You can have a lot of different things. You can have a lot of different products, but is it viable? Is it what the public is looking for? Is it what your target consumer is looking for? You have to take that feedback and you have to, put it into what's going to move your business to the next level. A lot of people, get a lot of attention, or a lot of business people get a lot of attention in the beginning. But once things start slowing down, okay, are you going to continue to do the same thing? Because you're going to get the same results if you do. How are you going to move into a different scope or move forward if you're not willing to do something different? I was an Army recruiter when I was in the Army for 3 years, and just like we was talking about cigars, the Army sells itself.
Mm-hmm.
You get good benefits. You're gonna get paid on the first 15th. You're gonna travel. All this stuff everyone already knows about the military. So as a recruiter, you're already a couple steps back because they think recruiters are liars.
Right.
So how do you overcome that? Right.
Right.
You have to go in and you have to, first of all, you have to be transparent. You have to understand your strengths and your weaknesses, and you have to meet people where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I did when people did not bring up, hey, will my son or daughter be going to Iraq? Will they be going to war? I was a recruiter during the time period that the war was really popping.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if I'm sitting in the living room talking to a kid's parents or something like that, and they don't bring it up, I said, listen, I noticed you didn't bring that up. So aren't you concerned, or wouldn't you like to know from me, will they go? Well, yeah, they absolutely will.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just let it be just the awkward silence. They absolutely will.
Right.
And then I would talk to them about my experiences because I was experienced. I've been to Iraq 3 times, and I've been to Afghanistan once. And I would talk to them about that. So I took all of the experiences I've had, 21 years in the Army, those recruiter experiences and everything. The salesmanship of you selling yourself will absolutely transform or move you forward to be able to get in front of different audiences and research. Just like prior to you doing an interview, you want to research the person that you're interviewing. Right. You want to know about them. You want to know what questions to ask them. Mm-hmm. So you want to put a different product, or you want to bring your product to a different audience or whatever. Know your audience, know your target audience, just like you know your target consumer. Know your target audience and what you want to say and how you want to relate to what you're doing to make them want to be involved in what you have going on.
Man, I need to pull my notepad out. you preaching. Now, as far as diversifying your I say book, diversifying the types of cigars that you introduce to your customers and everything like that. How do you what's your creative process like? How do you say, okay, like you said, you started with the Maduro. Mm-hmm. So what made you jump from the Maduro to the next? Well, obviously I know what made you jump to it. what was your thought process, your planning like? What is it like to and as far as I know you're expanding from just Kings Palace Cigars to Kings Palace Cigar Lounge. What does it take for these folks that look up to you? You know, a lot of our listeners have plans to start businesses and small startups and different things like that. So what is your planning process like for business and then also product development? Like how are you doing it? What strategics? Obviously, you don't want to give all your secrets, but
Hey, I'm an open book. I'm willing to help where I can with anybody. I mean, um, if I said I wanted to go and do it, somebody else is saying they want to go and do it too.
absolutely.
One of my biggest things was I was afraid, and I'm not scared to sit here and say that I was afraid. I'm the sole provider for my family. All right, so the mistakes that I make or the decisions that I make not only affect me, they affect my family. So my product development and how I developed um, going from one cigar to the 5 cigars that we have on our line. We have a Maduro, we have 2 Connecticut's, we have a sweet tip Connecticut and a regular Connecticut. We have a Habano and we have a box press.
Oh, we got some non-cigar smokers listening.
Okay,
At the end, we're gonna come back and get diversified.
Okay.
Go
Right.
ahead.
Right. So I looked at what we have and what we didn't have and what we would like to offer in a cigar lineup for right now. So just a little taste of everything is why we brought in the other 4 cigars: light cigar, light to medium cigar, and something with a sweet tip. We also just recently started having offering infused cigars. So infused cigars are not premium cigars, but they are really, really good cigars. They have a really good flavor profile depending on what flavor it's infused with. Got a honeyberry, a cognac vanilla, a chocolate, a martini, an apple martini, um, and a couple more that we're gonna bring out closer to the holidays. But my the whole idea behind what's next, what we're gonna bring up next, is basically what's offered that we don't offer,
Mm-hmm.
and why would I, or what, when we go out and we do these vending opportunities, what are people asking? Hey, do you have this? Do you have that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a smaller one? Do you have a larger gauge one? Do you have one that tastes like this and stuff? So
Active listening.
I'm taking I'm taking notes. And lastly, to moving forward is you have to have tenacity. You have to have bulldog tenacity. You say you're gonna do something. First of all, you have to be, upfront, and you have to be a man of your word to yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm not just gonna say, okay, well, I thought I wanted to do that. No, I said I wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Just like when Kings Palace started. All right. Um, how did the world start? God
Right.
spoke.
Right.
God said before he started making the world. So King's Palace, I said I will have a cigar line. I will have a cigar lounge. I spoke. Now I'm building. Now I'm on this journey of building. I'm not coming back off that and backing down.
Right.
So you have to be a go-getter. You have to have bulldog tenacity. People are gonna say, well, why are you doing that? You shouldn't do that. Well, that's crazy. Well, it might be, but watch me work.
Right.
Watch me work.
Right.
When it manifests, I want you to have the same energy.
Right.
Huh? When you say, oh, well, you shouldn't do that. Well, maybe have you thought about? Yeah, all of that. Have the same energy.
Right.
When you when you coming in the spot, shaking my hand, saying, well, man, I didn't think it was. Yeah, you didn't, but you put your mouth on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Man, it's just I'm a big fan of Prime, man. And as of late, he's been really, making folks revisit his legacy.
mhm.
And what you saying, it goes right to where he preaches is. I mean, you got to feel that thing. You got to want
Yeah.
that thing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got to know that thing. And that wraps up everything you said, man. So as far as Kings Palace Cigar Lounge, man, where can we find these cigars at?
Glad you asked. So, you can find Kings Palace Cigars online at kingspalacecigarlounge.com. Kingspalacecigarlounge.com. We're also on social media. We have a TikTok.
You teach people how to smoke these cigars. Nah.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're gonna have, that's the next thing. We're gonna start maybe a YouTube channel or something like that, having a little cigar education, mixing with some libations and stuff like that. Because my favorite libation is bourbon. I'm a brown looking man. You know, I love my bourbon, my scotch, a little bit of cognac here and there and stuff. But yeah, we're definitely moving in that direction. And what we also want to do is we want to offer some different avenues for people to enjoy while they're smoking, like sip, smoke, and paint,
Hmm.
and things like that. That's going to be offered at the lounge. So yeah, we've got a lot of different ideas, a lot of different things that we're actually gonna do and move towards in this next coming year.
For sure. And then before we close out, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted the folks to know about Kings Palace Cigar Lounge?
Um, Kind of put it all out there a little bit, but just wanted folks to know that we are very, very humble and appreciative of all the support that we've gotten. Um, our humble beginnings, and we will never forget where we came from. The cigar aficionados and the cigar lounges that have welcomed us in. Our cigars are now available at Goodfellas Cigar Lounge.
Where's that?
That's right here in Jacksonville, located off of St. John's Bluff,
Okay.
formerly XO Lounge. Shout out to Tracy.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And we look to be in some a couple of other cigar lounges like Island Girls off Gate Parkway. We're in talks with them to include Aromas on Southside Boulevard.
Yes, sir. Man, that's good. Hats off to you. A lot of respect, and I look up to folks like you that's moving around and for yourself, and then also for the community. You know, it's very hard to, not even hard. Very seldom do you see a lot of people like look like us. You know,
Right.
starting their own line of whatever brand it is. You know, so it's good to see that you following through with your word and you doing everything you can to make that happen for your family, yourself, and then also the community.
Indeed.
But before we close out, the last thing I want you to share one piece of advice for all these startups, wannabe startups, seasoned businesses, whatever. What kind of advice can you leave?
Hey, you got to take the crickets with the straights, man. You know, it's gonna be some hard times, and I'm not saying maybe it will. I'm telling you with all certainty, um, and it will be some dark days. You have to press through it. With all things, keep God first. Pray about your ambitions and what you want to do, and ask God to lead you, because He absolutely will. He says that He wants to give us the desires of our heart, but we also have to understand our work that we have to put in. God ain't gonna bless no lazy person.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Because he
If
ain't
you
lazy.
if he right, he ain't. If you look at all the disciples, he chose them while they was working.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, work your dream. But it can't stay a dream, because don't nothing come to a dreamer but sleep. And you have to make sure that you're moving in a direction of positivity. Keep positive people around you. Say positive affirmations to yourself. You have to speak positive. You have to be motivated, and it's a lot of times you got to motivate yourself. You got to encourage yourself, and that's the biggest thing about it, keeping your own mental out of the darkness of negativity. So, hey, to everybody out there that's pushing and wanting to do something for to call their own, I say go for it, because nobody's gonna come and give you the keys to it and give you the book to say this is how you do it.
Right.
You have to have enough wherewithal to say, I want to do this. I'm going to research. I'm going to learn. I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to get with like minded individuals that are maybe in this industry. I'm going to look for a mentor. And with everything, I'm putting my all into it. You got to eat it. You got to sleep it. You got to breathe it. You have to do everything that you need to do to make it work. And once you have that in you, I'm gonna make it work no matter what. You can conquer the world.
Man, that's a lot. I hope folks be listening, taking notes. But with all of that being said, everything we've covered, a lot of our listeners already know what I'm finna say. They know what the motto of the podcast is. Follow your dream, but always remember, stay in your lane.